Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining me once again for Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. How's it going? And for those of you who are looking for the spot to talk about retirement savings, you are indeed in the correct place. Thank you for joining us. Now, we're a very supportive community. If you'd like to join us, don't worry about it now. We'll talk about it at the end. But just know that that option is out there, okay? So, I want to start this the way I always do by asking you, how are you doing? How are you faring? How is it going? I always want to do that because sometimes we just forget to ask others how they are. And just knowing that somebody out there cares and is asking the question and really wants to hear from you is kind of what you need to get through the day. Anybody else feel like that? Maybe I'm alone. I don't know. But I just want you to know that I am thinking of you and this community is rooting for you. Okay? So, how am I doing? I am well. I have no complaints. Now, I have to tell you, we've talked over our time together. Oh, and let me stop myself for a second. Do you realize this is is it maybe the last one was the 62nd episode of our shows? And the reason why 62 kind of alarm bells went off on my head is that people seem to think 62 is the best age to retire. And I'm like, what? Because at 62, you're not eligible for Medicare. You don't have your full 100% Social Security amount. So, unless you're well off and can get through those 3 years without relying on Medicare, you really have the money to take care of you. Well, great. That's not true for most of us. So, 62 just kind of in my head. All right, so back to me and what I was thinking is that we've talked about recipes for us middle income people just trying to get by, just doing the best that we can, and just looking for ways to save money by using stuff we've already got in the fridge and turning it into meals. So I have memberships to both Costco and to Sam's. Well, I'm a Sam's fan. My husband really likes Costco, but we make it work because both of them have things that we can use. So if you haven't heard about it, think about this, that they have the rotisserie chickens for $5. And you can make several meals out of that chicken, dinner, then sandwiches, and then pick the rest of the meat off or boil it off and make soup or whatever. So what I did was after we had used the chicken for a day or two, I cut off a good portion of it and I made something I have never made before, and that would be chicken pot pie. I love them and I would buy them, and I got to the point where I was so tired of this tasteless goo that I had paid really good money for that I'm like, okay, I have to be able to do better than this. And what's really interesting is that my sisters are cooks. Yay, good for them. I can go to their house to eat. Me, I just want to put together good meals, and they can't be too complicated because I just really and truly cannot be bothered. My philosophy is quick and dirty, and I don't feel badly about that. We are not all the same when it comes to the kitchen. I'm okay with that. So I always look for ways to make something that's good, that's easy. So what I did was is I Googled easy chicken pot pie recipes, and stuff came up and I picked one, and it was so incredibly good. It was tasty. It was just perfect. And one thing I just want to mention is I looked at the recipe for the different vegetables that go in it, and I'm like, well, I don't have that, I don't have that, I don't have that, but I do have this. And so I put in the things that I wanted, and I had whole fresh carrots, so I cut those down and I just fried them up for, I don't know, 5 minutes with some onions, put that to the side. and I used frozen peas, which is really kind of funny. Let me tell you why. Because when I was quite young, maybe 3, I'm not sure, I told my parents I didn't like peas. Well, mom and dad were serving some overcooked whatever or some canned peas, and I was just disgusted by them. They made me eat them. Okay, I was such a good kid. I did as I was told. However, how I got through the rest of the night like this, I don't know. But apparently, I, put those peas in my mouth and made it through the rest of the evening. And the next day, when I went to greet my parents, these peas came tumbling out of my mouth. Now, I don't know what their reaction was to it, but I think about it now. It's like, okay, you did I did what you told me to do. You didn't say swallow them, did you? Nope. And from that, my parents never made me eat peas again because they're like, what's the point? But as I became an adult, I realized that peas that are not overcooked are really quite good. So I bought peas for the recipe too and did not overcook them, and they were flavorful and delightful. I loved it. And just, the things that you make for yourself, you're like, and I get it. A lot of people are like, well, I don't have time for that. Well, I work from home, and by the end of the day, 6 o'clock range, I'm tired. Believe me, I understand. I'm at home and I can't be bothered making these grandiose meals. No, quick and dirty. I'll go online. Okay, this is what I have. What can I do with it? So I have some other things in the fridge I will be doing that with. We had a really good steak of some sort. My husband bought it. I don't know what it was, but it's super juicy and flavorful, and we have stuff left. So I'm going to look for an easy stroganoff recipe, beef stroganoff recipe. So looking forward to that. So just kind of throwing those things out there. We do what we can to save money, to take care of our families, whatever that looks like for you. For me, it's going to be different, of course. But I did that. Oh, and I told you how I bought a really inexpensive ice cream maker. I think it was $30 at Macy's. I got it small, nothing to write home about or anything like that. But the last couple of batches of ice cream I made were so good. When you can control what you put into your food, it tastes so much better. And it isn't like anymore you need rock salt. Those of you in the same age range as me, our parents and grandparents, yeah, they made homemade ice cream for us, but it was in a big old bucket, had to have rock salt, and it was just such a hassle. This one, it's self-contained. You put the things in, you turn on the switch, and it will make the ice cream for you. So, love it. All right, so that's enough for food and me right now. The other thing is, those of you who've been around me for a while know that I will read these stories from money managers and kind of take what I can from them, and I leave the rest behind because it does not apply to me. So some months ago, I told you how one money manager, and if I told you her name, you would instantly know who she was, said that somebody was talking about their retirement account and they had $2 million in it. And she said, that's chump change. I don't know. I would be so grateful to have $2 million. I wouldn't even know what to do. But she said that's chump change. She says, and she clarified that this week by saying something along the lines of, you need $5 million to have a successful retirement. And I'm like, what planet are you from? Because that might work for people who make, let's say, $250,000 and up per year. But just real people, just normal middle income people, we don't make that kind of money. And there is no way. So who is speaking for us? I guess we're going to have to be the change that we need, right? So $5 million is horse pucky. I'm just going to say that right there. And there's no way. And let's take a step back. Let's take care of ourselves. Do what we can. We can't worry about we don't have enough, because This is it. This is what we can do. This is all we can do. Let's make it work. So save that money, people. If you haven't already set up some sort of a retirement account for yourselves, please take the opportunity to do it. And for those folks who are like, well, I don't make that much money, I can't afford that. I get it, because when I started my 401k, I was making $45,000. And in the grand scheme of things, that is nothing, right? But it is all I had, and I had to make it work. I had to make it work. I have to live for today, obviously, but I also have to make plans for tomorrow. That's the approach that I took. And anybody asking me, well, how much should I save? It's going to be different for everybody. But if you at least start with 5%, you're going to have to go up from there at some point, but start at 5%. Do what you can. And I'm not going to lie to you and say that you're not going to feel it, because I felt it. What I had to do was make some other choices. And, we've been talking about this for how long? That blank piece of paper that you take out every month or so. You don't have to do this every month, but do it often enough where you're staying on top of your money, where the first line is going to be, how much are you bringing in? What is your net paycheck amount for the month? And that net should already include the deduction for your retirement account. So we're talking net. What are you bringing home? And the first line after that is pay yourself first. So how much do you need to put in an emergency fund? How much do you need to do whatever you need to do? And for me, I put a little money away for an emergency fund. That's one thing. The other thing, I have a different savings account to put money I may owe in taxes, because I want to be ready for that. I had a nasty surprise, and I think it was 2018. I think I owed $2,000. I was not prepared for, because the tax laws changed. Never want that happening again, so I put that money away. Another account that I have, and these are separate accounts, because how do you keep up with what you're saving for a particular thing if you don't have a separate account for it? So I also put money away for my insurance, and I pay it every 6 months. If they had a system at my company for once a year, I would do it. But they have monthly, quarterly, and semi-annually. So, okay. So I just do it every 6 months. And it's working. You stay on top. You know what you need to put away. Also in that pay myself first line, I have money for cash, because I try as much as I possibly can to spend cash money when I go to the store, because then you're really thinking about it. How much am I spending? How much is going out? And it all, what's in my wallet? What did I start with? What am I left with? How long do I have to wait for the next infusion of cash? So that's me. As much as I can. You can't always, but it does work out quite a lot for me. And then the other thing is, whatever change I get back goes into my change bucket. Right now, after the end of February, I had almost $12. I think it's $11.90 or 95 cents, something like that. So I'm putting that money away, and it just forces me to think about money in all of its different forms. You just have to be comfortable with all of it. So, doing that and just making sure to take care of yourself. And when you need to cut expenses, don't do it with the pay yourself first money. Do look at your bills. Is it possible for you to save? If you were to change internet companies, would that save you money? If you needed to have a different cell phone plan, would that help you to save money? In my case, I saved hundreds of dollars by changing insurance companies for our 123 vehicles, I think. We did that, and it's a game apparently I'm going to have to play every so often, because it's already starting to go up 6 months after I started with them. It's not much. It never is. See, that's how it gets you. Oh, $50 until it's $500 and you're like, wait a second, got to make some changes. So just look at where your money is going and how you can make changes. Okay. So the main thing about all of this is making sure that you are saving your money. At least start with 5%. We can talk about going up at another time, but start with 5%. Please do that. Now, at the beginning of this, I said for those of you just joining us, if you would like to become a member of this community, we would love to have you. Where it says subscribe there, just follow that link and just know there will never be a charge for this information. You know, this is something I wish that had been available for me when I was coming up. So I'm just doing this as I am a graduate of the School of Hard Knocks. I am not a CPA. I'm not a money manager. None of those things. I'm just sharing with you lessons that I've learned over the years. And I want to hear from you too, because I'm sure I'm not the only one with stories. I have talked to some of my subscribers, privately, and they've shared things with me. And some of the things that they've shared showed up on this show. So if you would like to join us, please do. We would love to have you, okay? And with that, we like to keep these in the 12 to 15 minute range if we can, as close to that as possible. Because I know you're busy and want to get onto your lives, and I get it. So with that, I want to thank you so very much for joining me for this episode of Get Your Money Right with Yvonne. I'm Yvonne. And until next time, please be good to yourselves, be good to each other. You take care, okay? Bye.